The Bad Batch shines light on the fact that the Force is within everyone. However, could Omega realistically harness the powers of the Force? And if so, could she be trained by Asajj Ventress? Episode 9 of The Bad Batch Season 3 introduced us to the return of Asajj Ventress, and personally I think the episode was pretty good. I have seen some comments from people who say that they didn't really enjoy the episode, especially because they returned Asajj Ventress, and I definitely can understand that point of view, especially because Disney have had previous history of retconning Star Wars material, especially that we find in the Star Wars canon novels. I myself was a bit skeptical about this. I even talked about it in one of the earlier videos, but what I saw from this episode gave me kind of a little bit of a reassurance that they at least have an idea of where they want to go with Ventress, and according to some statements by people behind Star Wars, they are working on some stories that will explain how Asajj Ventress survived, or at least came back to life. But I've also seen some comments that this will also be explained in The Bad Batch Season 3, so I'm a little bit confused on where we're going to get all the information about Ventress's return, but let's just hope that whatever reason they choose is one that makes a lot of sense and doesn't just feel like an excuse to bring her back. But besides all of that, again, I'm really happy with the episode. And one of the things that really stood out to me was actually the relationship between Omega and the rest of the Bad Batch crew now that Asajj Ventress kind of stepped into the picture. Asajj Ventress is obviously not part of the Bad Batch crew, but she definitely stirred up some things that we really haven't discussed much before in the community. For as we see, Omega is clearly growing older and she's becoming her own person, and she wants to become more independent while also caring for the Bad Batch group and trying to protect them as much as she can. And so if we look at Omega, she's kind of been pushed in every direction by so many people. There's the Bad Batch group that wants something from her, and then we have the Empire who wants something from her, and then we have all the clones with Captain Rex and Echo, who without a doubt continues to add a little bit of weight to all of the conflicts that surrounds Omega. There's so many things going on around Omega right now, and then suddenly Asajj Ventress just kind of pops up from nowhere and introduces a whole new concept for Omega, which is the Force. The Force is something that most clones don't really understand because they haven't really been taught what the Force is. So when Asajj Ventress came into the picture and introduced the Force to Omega, she might have opened her eyes to a new future for herself that she could follow in order to grow as a person and become more independent, so that she is not consistently dragged down by the rest of the Bad Batch group, since they want to protect her so much, which obviously is understandable, especially considering how much they've sacrificed in order to protect her and how many times they put their own life on the line simply to ensure the safety of Omega. And even if they don't really recognize it, Omega definitely adds a lot of heart and passion to the group that they might have not really considered if Omega wasn't a part of the group. So when we touch upon the idea of Ventress and Omega teaming up, it could be in the form that they might depart from the rest of the Bad Batch group so that Ventress can train Omega without being distracted by them. And I think a lot of the reasons why she would want to do this is that their training would help Omega find her way with the Force, and then teach her a lot of new skills and what it really means to be a part of the galaxy with the Force closely by your side. Not many clones can go around and say that they understand the power of the Force, and I have no doubt that she wants to do everything she can to avoid becoming like her sister clone, who is stuck with the Empire and only following their regime by the letter, which definitely wouldn't be a fitting position for Omega. So during the time when Ventress will teach Omega what it means to be a wielder of the Force, she would most likely teach her a lot of unusual survival Force skills, because Ventress, well, she is a bit of an interesting character because throughout her life, she's been in persistent hardship and constant danger, where every turn could mean life or death. And if you've seen the Clone Wars and if you've read the novel, you definitely know that she's one of the people who kind of have to make her own path and figure things out as she goes. There's hardly much planning in what she does. She's kind of trying to lay low and just doing whatever she needs to do in order to generate a positive result for whatever she wants to accomplish. So considering that her life has been quite messy and she has had to solve a lot of issues in weird and different ways than what most people would have, She would teach a lot of her skills and a lot of her knowledge about what it means to survive in a galaxy that's constantly trying to destroy you, so that Omega is better prepared for a lot of the hardships that she will without a doubt face later down in her life. I think this idea is really interesting and really cool, because I think Omega needs to become a lot more independent. She needs to kind of be her own person without having all of the other Bad Batch people consistently tell her what to do or where she can go or where she cannot go. Of course, she is still very young and she needs to be limited in some areas, but she definitely needs her own space to grow, and I think Asajj Ventress could open up this new path for her to follow. And after Ventress and Omega have completed all of their training that they have been able to do with their limited time, Omega could come back to the Bad Batch group and try and help them even more now that she's way more skilled, but also now have a connection to the Force so that she can assist making the galaxy a better place for all beings who are currently being oppressed by the Empire. But also because when she becomes a lot older, the Bad Batch group will be either dead or very old by age, and she will have to take care of them, or they will ask her to not focus on them anymore and instead focus her kind efforts on the broader galaxy, now as a wielder of the Force. She's not a Jedi. I don't think she will ever become a Jedi, nor do I think it would be fitting, especially if she's trained by Asajj Ventress, because Asajj Ventress is clearly no Jedi, and she would definitely not try to teach someone to become a Jedi either, which means Omega would learn very specific and practical ways of using the Force without falling into a path where she ends up abusing it, because Asajj Ventress is highly critical about falling into the dark side, especially with her past experience with Quinlan Vos and how that entire relationship failed. So, with all of this, I think it would be really interesting to see Omega capture the stronger essence of the Force and use it for good to help out the rest of the Bad Batch group, and when their time has come, she will continue on to do good in the galaxy, and possibly with the help of Asajj Ventress. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and as always, never forget, the Force is with you.